What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another Formula One video, and today we're going to be looking at the Chinese Grand Prix.
Daniel, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel.
Alright guys, my name is Grim, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the Chinese Grand Prix and talk about it, we're going to have to get you guys to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below who you guys think is going to win the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm going to get into my predictions very soon, but let's talk about the Chinese Grand Prix and what we have going ahead. The last time we were at the Chinese Grand Prix was 2019, and it was a different time in Formula One, obviously. Everyone's probably seen all the footage of, how different Formula One was. Lewis Hamilton beating everybody. Valtteri was his teammate. Max Verstappen wasn't even in the double digits of wins yet, okay? And, I knew, because I'm a massive fanboy, but I knew Max Verstappen was always going to be world champion. But, yeah, people didn't know back then. People didn't know. It took a couple of more years for Max to challenge Lewis for the championship. Then we had an amazing 2021 and so on. But it's been a few years since we've been at the Chinese Grand Prix. So today, I'm going to give you guys my predictions on who I think is going to win. Plus, we're going to look at the news going on before the Chinese Grand Prix and get into that. First of all, guys, I'm using a new microphone, so hopefully you guys do enjoy the new microphone. I did an Ocon video on my old microphone, plus new setup. We've got the Wall of Champions behind me, all signed autographs by Formula One drivers. We've got Lance Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, Carlos Sainz, Juan Pablo Montoya, Daniel Ricciardo. A few of my favorite Formula One drivers print on the wall. Next up, we need to upgrade the camera, I feel like. But anyway, microphone's been upgraded. I feel like it's a good thing. Maybe the camera's next. Plus, I want to make the wall a bit more nicer, a bit more presentable for you guys. But yeah, so far so good, and obviously get the lighting better. But anyway, right now, it's Formula One time. Okay, so my top 5 going into the Chinese Grand Prix. Going to predict the top 5. In 5th place, I'm going to have Sergio Perez. It is a sprint weekend. I feel like Sergio Perez is going to struggle this weekend. And hopefully that can open the door for someone new to join Red Bull next year. I feel like we've had enough of the Perez era in Red Bull. I think we need someone new to challenge Max Verstappen for a championship. Unless, of course, Max goes to Mercedes, which there's still talks around. But 5th place, I have Sergio Perez. In P4, I am going to have Charles Leclerc. I think Leclerc is going to have a decent race, but finish in P4. In P3, I'm going to go Lewis Hamilton back on the podium, bouncing back. I had Lewis bouncing back last time out. Didn't sort of happen. Mercedes are really nowhere to be seen. But I feel like Lewis Hamilton's been to the track multiple times compared to other drivers. And a few drivers, it's their first time at the Chinese Grand Prix. So let's give Lewis some hope. It is a sprint weekend. Let's see what Mercedes can pull out of the bag. That's why I've got Lewis Hamilton in 3rd place. In P2, I'm going to go Carlos Sainz. I think Carlos is going to have another amazing weekend, which is going to open the door for him to actually secure a seat for next year's Formula One Championship season. And of course, 1st place, Max Verstappen, beating everybody again. Listen, hopefully it's going to be a competitive weekend. Normally when it's a sprint weekend, Max doesn't like him and always has an opinion on why they're shit pretty much. But hopefully he struggles so we can have a decent race. But, I'm a Max Verstappen fan. Now, I'm saying for him to struggle so we can see good racing in the sense of, making the sport alive. But if not, Max, 4-time world champion. I had someone actually funny in an Instagram short video. It was like, you're already giving Max the 4th championship. I'm just thinking, yeah, bro, sure am. No one's going to stop Max Verstappen in 2024. That's my top 5 going into the Chinese Grand Prix. Now, we're going to talk about Zhou Guanyu. If you guys haven't seen his helmet, check it out. His helmet is absolutely beautiful. Such a nice piece that he's done. A lot of drivers have done special edition lids going into the Chinese Grand Prix. Zhou has probably my favorite lid out of all of them. George Russell's is really up there too, but Zhou's helmet, oh my God. But I feel like Zhou's going to get, I don't think it's going to be very hard for him to get top 10, but I'm just going to say Zhou top 10, maybe a point or so coming into the race. I know that Sauber is terrible, and last time out he qualified last and they have pit stop issues, but I'm just going to say Zhou Guanyu, P10, let's hope, fingers crossed, first home Grand Prix for him, the first Chinese driver to be at his home Grand Prix. So, he's on a grandstand as well at the Chinese Grand Prix, so I'm really excited to see what Zhou can do this weekend. Hopefully he has a good sprint. Hopefully he has some good practice, and then obviously has an amazing race. So come on, Joe. Let's get some points for Sauber, get some points for yourself, and let's see what happens. I think it's make or break for Logan Sargent this weekend after obviously crashing, missing out in Australia, crashing the car in practice last time in Japan. I think it's make or break for him. I think he needs to have a really clean, good, solid Chinese Grand Prix. Hopefully Albon can improve as well. See what Williams is sort of doing in the mix. I don't know if they're going to be competitive. We're going to have to wait and see. Also, Fernando Alonso, can't discount him. I'm confident in having my top 5, but I think Aston Martin might struggle a little bit. We're going to have to wait and see. Plus, we're going to maybe see McLaren versus Aston. I don't know. But also, Lance Stroll needs to really have a good, clean weekend as well. Hopefully, make it into Q3. He's been struggling a lot in qualifying. His race pace is pretty decent, but that qualifying pace really making him struggle. So, hopefully, we can see Lance in Q3. I'm a massive Stroll fan, as you guys can sort of see, you know what I mean? We can see what the pairing of Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri. Let's see who comes out on top. I think Lando's actually going to be quicker than Oscar at this circuit. Lando's raced here before in 2019. Lando Norris, Alex Albon, and George Russell were all rookies last time out at the Chinese Grand Prix at the 1000th Formula One event. And fitting enough, looking back in history, Lewis Hamilton did win the 1000th Formula One Grand Prix event. And I think that's very good, very fitting, because I felt like, you know what? The 7-time champion, well, at the time, he wasn't a 7-time champion, but what he's done in the sport, he deserved to win the 1000th Formula One race ever. So I was actually really happy when he won back then. Back then, I wasn't really rooting for Lewis, but I was really wanting him to win the 1000th Grand Prix in Formula One, to have that little milestone, that little thing, to take home that P1 trophy. Another cool fact, the drivers did arrive in China, and they were greeted by all the fans. It's been many, many years since the Chinese fans have seen the Formula One drivers, and I don't know how I would feel being one of them, like, not being able to see the F1 drivers for such a long time. I missed out in 2021 seeing the Formula One drivers. In 2020, it was a half hit and miss. We got signatures, as you guys know. I collect mini helmets, get signatures from the drivers, as you guys can probably see with the photos. But we did miss out on a few drivers back in 2020 because obviously you know what happened. 2021, we had no Formula One, and I don't know how, to me, not going to a Formula One race because it wasn't in your country, it sucks. So I don't know how the Chinese fans felt, but we're back in China. Everyone's excited to see it, and let's see what happens going into the Chinese Grand Prix. I did rewatch the 2010 Chinese Grand Prix, the extended highlights on the Formula One YouTube page, and mate, we were witnessing history. We saw Lewis Hamilton versus Michael Schumacher. Schumacher in the Mercedes, Hamilton in the McLaren, and they were wheel-to-wheel racing. At the time, we didn't realize how special that was, but looking back now, seeing two 7-time world champions battling like that, honestly, it was really amazing to watch, and that was probably the best highlight of the 2010 Chinese Grand Prix. Such a mixed race, rain and everything. So hopefully we can get fingers crossed we get some rain this weekend. Let's mix up the whole grid. Let's go, China. It's either going to be a hit and miss, or it's going to be an epic race. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton hasn't had the best experience in China, losing out on the 2007 Formula One World Championship, going into the gravel and beaching his car, and then obviously losing out to Kimi Raikkonen in Brazil by 1 point. Alrighty, let's go through the news going into the Chinese Grand Prix. Norris McLaren can win races in F1 2024 if it gets everything right. I feel like there's a lot of the top teams. Aston Martin get everything right. McLaren, they can all do it. So do I agree with Norris? Yes. Do I think it's article worthy? Article no. We are using motorsport.com. Shout out to them. I think they're one of the best when it comes to motorsport articles. Leclerc, Sainz simply doing a better job in recent F1 races. No denying that. But, listen, Leclerc's secure. He's got to drive at Ferrari. Carlos is driving for his career. Fernando Alonso, Stroll, more sensitive to Aston F1 car handling issues. I drive around. Okay, pretty much Alonso saying he's better. Like low key, right? But listen, at the end of the day, Alonso is better than Lance Stroll. He's a 2-time champion. Look what he's doing with the car. Stroll on his day, I think, can beat Fernando, but Stroll's like a hit and miss driver. Sometimes he's shit, sometimes he's really good. And if you get the really good Lance Stroll, he's putting it on pole position. He's getting a top 5. So hopefully that Stroll can come out this weekend. We'll talk about Fernando Alonso signing a 2-year contract actually with Aston Martin soon. But with Stroll, he needs to just really buckle down and become the Stroll at the end of his Williams career, the Stroll at Racing Point, getting the pole position, And Pedro de la Rosa, I was listening to a podcast. He's saying Stroll's keen to continue, and I don't see why he shouldn't continue. I know everyone talks shit, but you know what? Stroll, man, 2026 Formula 1 World Champion. I'm putting it out there right now. That'd be mad. I'd love to have Stroll the World Champion, just to rub it into everybody's face. But it's the car. Could just imagine. Anyway, Williams may as well go home if spare situation changes. It's F1 approach, says Alex Albon. Listen, I can agree with Albon. The situation with Williams not having spare parts sucks. I get it, you got to save money, you got to do this, but mate, not having spare parts when other teams are bringing spare parts, and you guys have able to only run one car and struggling, and the drivers can't crash and they can't be on the edge. That's not good for the team. It's not good for the drivers. So hopefully Williams can find something to improve. And I completely agree with Alex Albon on that one. Newey, F1 grid to close up even more before being blown apart in 2026. So with the new rule change in 2026, apparently the cars are going to be even slower. Listen, Formula One, can I give you guys some advice? Stop this bullshit trying to save the environment, whatever. Just listen. Bring back the V8s, man. The racing we had. Oh my God. And Adrian Newey, go to Aston or go to Ferrari, please. We need to get a new world champion. We need someone to challenge Max Verstappen, make it more interesting. 2021 was the best season we've ever had in Formula One history, okay? It was. Hamilton versus Verstappen was awesome. It's because you have two drivers from two separate teams battling for a championship. We need Newey to leave, go to another team, and hopefully they can compete with the Red Bull. Joe, China to UK moves as young Carter was a bit of a shock. So I think he's talking about when he actually moved from China to UK. So in China, Zhou won everything in karting. It wasn't as popular, but he won everything. He moved to UK, and the competitiveness in the UK and Europe is just the next level. Everyone's good. So he was shocked, but obviously Zhou was good enough to make it to Formula One, and the rest is history. He's about to join, and he's about to enter his first ever home Grand Prix. All right, guys, so that is the Chinese Grand Prix, the news going into this weekend. Now, what I want to talk about quickly is Fernando Alonso staying at Aston Martin. I did make a short on it, so if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys can watch that and would have known earlier my little opinion. But Alonso 2 years staying at Aston Martin, what does this mean? Potentially Adrian Newey could be going to Aston Martin. Now, what would prompt me as a driver if I was Fernando being older, thinking about retirement to stay at Aston Martin? Listen, Lawrence Stroll's invested a lot of money. Their plan is to become Formula One World Champions. I can see it. I've been saying it for a long time. They will be F1 World Champions. I'm one of the first to call it. They're getting Adrian Newey, I'm pretty sure, man. I feel like it's 60%, 70% sure they're going to get Adrian Newey. I think that they've said to Alonso, listen, we're getting Adrian. He's coming, okay? The car's going to be World Championship worthy. And we're going to have Alonso versus Lance for the World Championship in 2026. Putting it out there. Don't know. Or is it going to be the other way? Lewis Hamilton versus Charles Leclerc. Hamilton going for his 8th. Charles going for his 1st. We get another amazing year. Or is it just going to be Max Verstappen winning his 6th title by the time that happens? Because obviously next year he probably can win again. His 6th title in Formula One. I don't know. But my theory is Adrian Newey is going to Aston Martin, and that prompted Alonso to stay. What does this mean for the driver market? 2 years we've got Alonso left in Formula One. I think after this 2 years, boom, Fernando Alonso, thank you for your time. It's been amazing. You left maybe a 3-time world champion, but we won't see Fernando in the sport again as a full-time driver. But let's enjoy it while it's here. Now, like I said, what does it mean for the other drivers? What does it mean for the rest of the grid? There's a seat at Red Bull still open with Sergio Perez. If Max leaves to Mercedes, that's going to open another can of worms. There's a spare seat at Mercedes. Kimi Antonelli had his first test with Mercedes about, I think, 24 hours ago since the time of this recording. I personally think Kimi Antonelli is going to go to Williams. Give him a year, man. Don't sign him up. Give him a year. Promise him a seat with the new regulation changes. Williams, do what you got to do. Unless he was winning every race already in Formula 2, Formula 2, then, bring him to Mercedes. He's not doing that at the moment. He's a rookie. We get it. Bring him to Mercedes. Logan Sargent, I'm sorry. Boom, bye. Goes. Mercedes are open to either Max Verstappen or Carlos Sainz. Now that Fernando's gone, we'd love to have seen Alonso at Mercedes or Red Bull. I personally wish he went to Red Bull. 1 year contract. Go for the championship. See you later. 3-time world champion. Maybe. I don't think he'd beat Max Verstappen. But anyway. I think Carlos should go to Red Bull. I personally think we have a Carlos versus Max championship. And then that Mercedes door is open for another driver. And I'm going to chuck in Esteban Ocon. I was thinking Mick Schumacher for a 1 year contract. My problem is that I've read an article, Mick Schumacher is probably going to go to IndyCar, and I'm so upset Mick might be going to IndyCar because Mick Schumacher to IndyCar is not good for Formula One, I feel like, because that name's gone. And man, Mick, there's options for him. He can go to Williams if Antonelli goes to Mercedes. He can go to Sauber. Zhou and Bottas are out of their contract. That's going to become Audi. They want a German driver. They look at Nico Hulkenberg. Or look at Hulkenberg, we can get Mick Schumacher, bro. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's a bad decision for Mick to go to IndyCar unless he knows there's no seat for him. Or even the Alpine seat. If Ocon goes to Merck, boom, Alpine, sign Mick Schumacher up. I know they will probably want Jack doing, okay? But, I don't know, I feel like Mick should not go to IndyCar and continue to try and get a seat at Formula One next year. Everyone talks shit, mixed rubbish. You guys don't know about the sport. You guys have no clue. I will debate you any time about why Mick is better than what you guys say. Oh, he's shit. I can debate you multiple times. We can go through this whole 2 years in Formula 1, look at his junior career, and I'll tell you why he's not shit. So I'll probably do a video. Like, if you also see a video on why Mick Schumacher isn't shit and why people that say that are fucking dumb, I'll do a video, okay? Sorry for the swearing. Had to be said. Mick Schumacher fan, have to back up the Schumachers. And it is what it is. Anyway, guys, the Chinese Grand Prix is around the corner. That's my little predictions going into Chinese Grand Prix, reacting to the news. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow my Instagram down below. I'll see you guys after practice of the Chinese Grand Prix. So Friday night. Stay tuned for that. Thank you.